We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Men's Business this morning. Manju Bariji, and definitely at this very time we're heading straight into our insight. And the focus largely is going to be, of course, on the budget this time around, prioritizing that is the transport sector. But of course, before we get into that discussion with my guest this morning, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which have already opened as I speak right now. Now, for you to be a part of this, simply dial *292#. And you'll be availed with a number of options where you will be able to buy government bonds and securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Yes, the markets opened at 8:15 a.m. and they'll be closing at 3:15 p.m. And this is effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when these markets can't be accessed. But despite the fact you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some huge profits, something which I believe is very key and vital for your personal growth and development as a trader. Just in case you could have incurred some sorts of trade deficits in a way, it would be very amazing for you. Now, Zabo made this a reality and simply says, buy money in my future. And Autox East Africa tells you, do something new for yourself in the year 2023. Of course, now heading back to our inside discussions this morning, I'm joined with Paul Rukundo. This is the operations manager, Agency for Transformation, and definitely they deal in matters mainly road-related, road safety, and so many issues of that kind. And now we are going to be discussing the transport budget, the allocation for the transport. Remember, the sector was allocated 4.5 trillion, and later on the World Bank came in with the 2.5. That is for developing the greater roads within the greater Kampala. But definitely we're going to be looking into deeper of those matters. Mr. Paul Rukundo, good morning and welcome on the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bariji.
Yeah.
Good morning to the viewers. I'm happy to be back here again.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm really happy that we are now discussing the issues that really affect most of us, because the transport sector is very important for Ugandans and for all of us. I'm glad to be here again, and thank you so much for hosting me.
You're very welcome. And now, of course, before we had in our business trends today, actually there was somebody on Twitter that posted something that was showing Ugandan roads in 1960s versus the Ugandan roads today, and you might think that 1960s is the future and today is the past. Something which I found very interesting. But anyway, now that still points me back to the CEO of Sabota. Well, he mentioned something in line with that, where he said uneven distribution of roads. Why is it that the road that comes to my to my home looks bad, or the road that it looks bad or good, and the road that heads to my neighbor is the vice versa of that? I mean, trying to put all that together, it wasn't making sense out for him. I don't know what you think about that.
Thank you so much. I think there is a genesis of all that.
Yeah.
Which I think is the process of budgeting. Because as a country, we have what we call the national roads, which are gazetted as national roads, and Parliament allocates money to work on those roads. I think we should also look at them in the as we go on. Then also, there are those roads, because Parliament has also allocated money for certain areas like districts, municipalities and cities. They have allocated 1 billion each municipality, each district, each city to also pave some of those roads. So as the government is focusing on the national roads, connecting different districts, connecting different areas, there is also that budget is allocated to work to pave the roads within the municipalities and within the cities. So what happens is that how the district also plans for that money also matters.
Yes.
That's where the gap is, I think. You find that in some areas the distribution is much wider, but you find that all municipalities and all districts are allocated the same amount of money to work on the roads, and you find that one district has a bigger space. It has several roads that are supposed to be worked on, and you find that 1 billion can't be enough to really work on so many roads that they're having. Because I imagine giving 1 billion to Wakiso and also giving 1 billion to a road district somewhere there. So you realize that Wakiso will be so much stressed because the amount is not really enough, and they have a bigger space to work on. So you find that the road network within the Wakiso area, because of its bigger area can't be really enough to pave all those roads. That's why you find that the moment you go beyond, the Kampala city, within the city, you find that it is a challenge.
Okay.
The road network is really a challenge.
It's really a challenge, yes.
Yeah, but in a nutshell, for me, I think there's a lot that has really been done in terms of improving the road network. Because when we are talking of the transport sector in the country, we are basically looking at roads.
Roads, definitely.
97% of our people use, the road networks. So, but there is a lot that has really been done. Because when you look at, you talked of the 1980s, 1960s,
and the 1960s seems like
but
the future.
You realize that with around 1986, when this government came into force. Of course, when I mention that, people normally tend to think that Uganda started with the current government.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah, but we had close to 6,700 kilometers of roads, both tarmacked and marked. But now we have moved to close to 160 kilometers, 60,000 kilometers of the roads that we have, and of that, close to 7,000 is paved, is tarmacked. So you realize that there is a lot that has already been done, because I believe that the road network is an enabler of so many other things. And when you look at the budget priorities for this particular financial year, when you look at the priorities they are looking at completion of the public investments, public goods, which actually have a higher multiplier effect, because when you construct a road, you make it easy now for people to move there, transport and also access to health services and all that. So I think there is a lot that is really being done in making sure that we have our road network worked on, much as there are several gaps that, like the way you said, the distribution of those roads and all that, which is really still a challenge, of which I believe if we really gather our efforts and make sure that we concentrate on making the road network work for all of us, we shall really achieve something. Yeah.
Well, in your opinion, do you really think, of course I know we can never be successful at saying that, okay, we need to have the uniform distribution. Of course it may be a challenge. In all countries, even the ones we look up to, have challenges in infrastructure somewhere, somehow. But at least, do you think we have prioritized? Because it's understandable, because I know majority of the people have been wondering still the same, why there is that unequal distribution. One road is good and the road next to it is in a totally opposite state. And you mentioned the aspect of bigger space and the funding is inadequate according to that. But then I'm thinking, because the funny thing is that the majority of these roads which seem to be in the most horrible state are the ones which carry what are the goods that are being transacted in town. For example, food. So do you really think, as much as I know there is that aspect of limited resources with a bigger space, but at least we can prioritize? And you find that sometimes the priority area is not really the area of great benefit, but maybe simply because there is a big person in government that works there, and now that's why the road looks like that. And here where people are producing to sell to town, to keep the trade moving, the velocity of money constant, they are struggling.
I somehow agree, because in every setting, be it an organization, be it governments, there will always be people to influence.
Yes, true.
And people are somehow selfish, so they will always influence towards their benefits, towards their interests. So you find that people who are into these sectors, I try to influence the process of budget allocations and all that, to make sure that the roads that go to their places and all that are paved and really. So that we should really accept that in every setting there will always be that. So the role of now government or other partners or other players is to actually push for that, what you have just mentioned, to make sure that we look at the multiplier effect. Yes.
True. Yes.
So if we pave a road that connects districts where we get foodstuffs,
yes.
So there will be a higher multiplier effect, because there will be easy movement of goods to the market. Then we collect a lot of revenue from that. But of course, like the way I said, there will always be those people who actually influence for their selfish interests, of which I think it is very wrong, because when we are talking of developing a country, we can't really focus on as individuals. We have to look at a bigger picture. We have to look at what benefits us as a country, not what benefits a few individuals within our country. So that's why I think that it is very important for the players, for the Ministry of Works, for other, the UNRWA and all other, people involved in the development of the road sector, to really make sure that they iron out such tendencies of people influencing public goods to benefit themselves as individuals and not benefiting the rest of the country. I think it is really very wrong, and we should actually push and call government order to make sure that they make sure that whatever road that is constructed, that whatever road that is planned is really going to benefit Ugandans as a country. We should focus on when we are going to construct a road, we look at what is the benefit of this road to the rest of the Ugandans or to the rest of the economy. Yes. So I think that one should really be addressed, and we make sure that the roads that we construct are beneficial to all of us, not a few individuals. Because, like we said, I've also seen it. You find that there are some, roads that are really very well tarmacked, and they are leading to a one gate. Yes. So and yet we have a very maram road. Yes. That along that road there are several shops. There are several, it is a busy place. Yes, but it is still, in that sort of state, and yet we have a very paved way going to a one-man's gate. So which I think it is really very wrong, and I call upon our government to actually push and address that.
And maybe there is also this other aspect which is a bit challenging, and it kind of it disrupts mobility. Mobility of labor, first of all, and also even money. Now, in most cases, when construction project is going on, road construction project, they tend to take so long. And recently, actually, there was a story of how people are being affected as a result of that. Of course, it is okay. It's understandable. That is bound to happen. Of course, there will be some disruptions here and there when a new road is being constructed. But how do you think government can really best do that? As much as they have allocated all this money for the roads, that the roads can be constructed, and yet we still have some sort of harmony when it comes to how we conduct business within the city. Because that's another worry. Yeah,
for the little time I've really dealt with government, there is a very big challenge with the disbursements. Yes. I don't know why it is a big challenge, but there is always delays in the disbursement of these allocations. The government allocates, you win a contract, you sign a contract, you agree to work on a certain road, you agree on the timelines that you are going to finish on this road. Then when it comes to government disbursing this money to the contractors, it becomes an issue. Money comes in late, then they give in installments, the next installment also comes in late. So you are delaying the contractor to continue doing his work. Then of course also there are some contractors who have really no capacity to actually work on some of these roads. Because I remember we are pushing to have the Ugandan contractors getting those contracts to work on the road. But you find that the capacity also is an issue. Much as we want our companies to be the ones working on our roads, but you find that their capacity is also a bit a challenge, and you find that they also may be wanting to get financial access to from these banks, and you also find the process takes a bit longer. So all that delays the completion of some of these projects. That's why they always take long than really what is expected, and I think it is also something that we also need to look at to make sure that if government agrees to support a certain road, then they make sure that the process is smoothened and money is released in time. And we also task the contractor to keep updating the government on how he's moving with the construction of that particular road and what could be the challenges that he's facing, so that government can also come in and also again advise and help, because at the end of the day this is a national road. This is a road for us. It is not a road for the contractor. So in case he gets a few challenges here and there, government should also come in and try to advise on how best we can move forward. Because these national goods benefit us as Ugandans.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, now of course, taking a look at the 2.5 trillion shillings that was from the World Bank allocated to Uganda for Greater Kampala. I'm trying to understand, you are somebody into this field of roads related aspects. If you're to look at the state in which Kampala's roads were planned, how best do you think these funds should be utilized? Do you think it is okay the way it is? And what are those key priority areas that you feel like, I think if they do this like this, we shall have, the city will look good and there'll be ease in mobility of labor and so many other.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge of Kampala, as people who have lived in this town, in this city, this money that has been allocated, it is looking at maintaining the roads, then paving new roads, and also working on the drainage systems, then also putting the signages of
drainage systems.
So for me, the 2.5 trillion that has been allocated to Greater Kampala and metropolitan area, I think first they will need to work on the drainage systems, because you realize that normally people on Twitter say small rain and the Kampala is flooding. So so you realize that when we get rains that actually last for like 20-30 minutes, that the whole of Kampala is flooding.
That is true.
Which actually of course limits us to move from here to there. So it also affects the economic sense of it, because when the Kampala is flooding and mobility is affected, then we can't really move to conduct. So I think the drainage systems should be worked on, because they also pose a very big challenge to our movement, and also we have also seen people being taken by these floods that are around,
goods.
So it is a very big challenge. The drainage system of Kampala is really a very big challenge. And yesterday I was on a certain TV, and the governor of Nairobi was, trying to explain how how they are planning Nairobi and all that. And I was wondering whether our leaders also appear on TVs to give accountability. Yes, because
he was giving accountability.
Yes, he was giving accountability. Yes. He was actually not discussing the politics, but most of our leaders here, they only come to the shows to discuss the politics. But we also need them to come and give us accountability of what is being planned or what has been done already, so that we get to understand how our city is being planned and how they are going to utilize this 2.5 trillion. Because I believe if this money is put to the right use, there will be a lot of improvement in the mobility within Kampala city. So I think they should work on the drainage system and work on the potholes that really work.
Potholes.
Yes, because this money also has a percentage of maintaining the roads that are already in Kampala. And the potholes also cause a very big challenge. They slow the traffic, then they also lead to some accidents, because these borders that we have in town, they are trying to navigate through.
Yes.
Someone falls into a pothole, by the time he prepares, the car is already crashing the gentleman. So you find that when the road is in a bad state, it poses a danger to the users. Which I think, we have, as agency, we recently conducted a study about the road crashes, and also how to engage government to increase budget for road safety. And some of the issues that we are looking at are actually these ones. The state of roads in this country also poses a very big challenge to the road users, the pedestrians. Kampala has no ways of pedestrians for us to walk through.
I mean, you walk on the pavement. Actually, but some even are there, but there is recklessness, which I think the traffic laws should also highly be enforced, as much as because we may put the pavements, but still they can be abused.
You find the riders. Even taxi guys are actually also on the pavement, also moving. So it becomes also a challenge, which I think the enforcers of these regulations should actually also come out and make sure that we protect the pedestrians' ways, because you find that someone is walking and someone comes out from somewhere and knocks the person, yet you're walking on the sides of the road. And most of our roads, you see, don't have those, paved ways for pedestrians to walk through.
True.
So which also poses a challenge to these people who walk along the roads. So I think this money can be used to organize our ways, to organize our roads, so that we have demarcated or gazetted ways for pedestrians. We have also roads for the cyclists, because in Kampala, really, all our roads are, a pure mix of everything. You find the pedestrians are walking in the middle of the road, the cyclists, the borders, the cars. So it is a pure confusion. Yeah. So which actually puts our lives at a danger. And I think this money can be used to organize that area, to make sure that everyone is protected, and we have a clear, road system that actually protects everyone.
Okay. Maybe just before we get into the break, do you think that 2.5 is ideal for the Greater Kampala, in your opinion? Or okay, if we have to sum up the 4.5 plus the 2.5, 6.7. Now we are looking at the entire nation's infrastructure.
Yeah. For me, I think it may not be enough because there is a lot that is really still needs to be done. But also how government also prioritizes the things also matters, because in their planning they sit and say for this financial year, this is our biggest challenge, or we are reallocating money to this that is coming up. But also I think when you look at the 4.5 trillion that has been allocated to the entire sector, which contributes around 13% of the entire budget, you find that the administration costs is also taking a lot of a bigger percentage of this money. Okay. So you find that much as there is money that has been allocated to construction of some of these roads, still another bigger chunk of money is also consumed in administration. We are not saying that people shouldn't be paid salaries, people shouldn't be but the cost, because I believe when you really work on a road and that leads to a certain area where you have a multiplier effect that we said, you are now attracting more money into the economy.
Yes.
So, but selfishly, we really want to allocate money to other irrelevant things, the cost of administration, the cost of
and they seem to be a very big deal.
Yeah. So we ignore the bigger picture of because sometimes I also think that why can't we agree as a country and spend a year and we cut these costs and we concentrate, we say this financial, let's concentrate on achieving all this. Then in the next year we sacrifice a year, we say let's concentrate on completing these road projects, which we believe that they will have a multiplier effect to our economy. Then in the next year we can have more money coming in, and now we again come up with these budgets of administration and all that. But for me, I think the money is put into the right use. There will be definitely a change, because I have seen they are looking at several roads that they are trying to work on. The Atiaka, Ropi Road. They are also looking at several ferries that they are trying to put in place. Like I saw they are looking at the Wenyonyi ferry. That is in and of course some other areas, and of course they are also trying to complete the Kampala flyover, which I think also will try to reduce on the traffic within the city, because it will also improve on the mobility, on the movement of our people. So I think if this money is really put to the right use and we complete some of these projects, there will be a change, because I will honestly say that the completion of the Kampala, the bypass, has greatly improved on the movement.
Though it is still a little bit challenging, most especially for the people that stay in those areas. Because, I don't know, depending on what they plan in there, you find that sometimes that roundabout can have jam. But people are not allowed to use the express to cross. And there is where you can link up to the bypass and still continue to those different respective areas. That is according to what the planners really saw into that way. But sometimes there is still actually jam with the northern bypass on some days, actually. Not of course all days, but on some specific days. Well, it's 5 minutes to 9:30. We are discussing the budget, transport. Of course, we are unmasking potential investment priorities that is within the transport sector. My guest this morning is definitely Paul Mukundo, the operations manager, that is agency for transformation, and it's been clearly breaking us down. And I believe you've been able to get some answers in relation to some of the key questions, key aspects that you've been having. most especially coming down to the area of uneven distribution of roads within the country, where he clearly says that it's because there is bigger space to really occupy, yet the funds allocated in there are not enough. But definitely, as we've been still dwelling in further, realize that sometimes the distribution of these roads is not allocated to the priority areas. For example, areas which have serious business transacting, and some of them are doing what we call inter-district trading within. And of course, you find that the people that are doing the inter-district trading are not having the best roads. And we've been still breaking down all that, and the aspect of some people who influence public goods, how they should go, yet it's a right to every citizen to have access to this particular service, but a few individuals in government coming out and influence that it should be allocated in that way, and most of it definitely still falls back down to the selfish reasons, matters which we think, if dealt with, we shall really have a very amazing country as Ugandans, and trade will be really very smooth. Well, before we get into the break, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform, which are already open now. *292# is simply the USSD code for you there, and you will be available with a number of options where you will be able to buy government bonds and securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the market's already open as I speak right now. They opened at 8:15 a.m. and they'll be closing at 3:15 p.m. This is effective Monday up to Friday. You buy government bonds for as little as 15,000. Well, that is something very interesting. Markets are not accessible on the weekends and on public holidays, but this week had no public holiday, so you had all the way to make your money all on the trade, on the stocks, as you reap your profits towards the end of the week. All you need is your mobile phone, whether smartphone or button phone. You will be able to start *292# is the code there. Now, Zabo says my money, my future, and All Taxis Africa tells you do something new for yourself in the year 2023. Well, now let's get into the break. I'm still with Paul Rukundo. Definitely, we shall be returning to break down further matters in regards to the budget. Stick around.